What we call the asset skin is the empath, the HSP, the intuitive. If you're highly sensitive, empathic, or the kind of person who feels before they speak, you might find yourself working in coaching, healing domains, facilitation, leadership, or really any field that lives inside of human emotion, artistry, musician, etc. What I'm about to share might feel quite familiar. You walk into a room and you immediately feel the tone of the energy. You sense when someone is off before they even say a word. You pick up moods, undercurrents, atmospheres, layers of sensation that most people never notice. You don't have to think about it. Your body already knows. And that isn't your imagination. It isn't just simply over emotionality, and it's not weakness. It's how your nervous system works. And depending on high or low capacity, the thing that makes you deeply attuned, caring, and connective, creative, can also be the thing that quietly drains you. All of this is what we call the asset skin. The asset is the nervous system organized for awareness and connection, where other systems brace, analyze, or adapt and shift. The asset opens. It receives. It senses relationship before cognition has time to name it. And this is why so many empaths or highly sensitive people and relational leaders live here. You don't meet life through distance. You meet it with contact. At high capacity, this is a profound form of intelligence. Before we go further in this video, though, pause, go down to the description and take the Somatic Skins Quiz below, and then come back. It'll make the rest of this video, especially if you're an asset, land with far more depth. All right, let's strip away all typical labels and talk about what the asset really is before we talk about where it might go off the rails and where there's range to be developed. In its essence, the asset is awareness organized into coherence. It doesn't analyze an experience first, it feels it and then seeks to put language to it. It doesn't seek control, it seeks connectivity. Its nervous system answers separation not with distance, but with presence. Physically, the system stays soft and receptive. Breath tends to be wide and unforced. Tissue tone is gentle. Attention is panoramic. The body listens through sensation. Cognitively, awareness is then relational rather than one directional. You don't just notice what's happening, you feel how it's happening. Insights often arrive as knowing without words. Emotionally, this is empathy, feeling as if another in its purest form. The asset feels others as extensions of itself. Its presence can be nourishing, re-regulating, simply because it says without effort, "You're safe here." At high capacity, this becomes a stabilizing force. Empathy doesn't overwhelm, it'll regulate. And awareness won't just scatter, it sets the tone, it anchors. But here's the edge. That same openness that allows an asset to connect also can leave it unprotected. At low capacity, the asset doesn't feel with the world, it feels as the world. This is where exhaustion begins. You absorb and start to gather what isn't yours. You carry emotions that you didn't generate. You leave conversations tired without really knowing why. You regulate a room instinctively, softening tension, smoothing edges, harmonizing moods. but your own system takes the brunt because it never really fully recovers. That is what empathy looks like without containment. And because it looks like care, it often goes unquestioned. Many assets learn early that their value comes from how much they can feel and hold. They become the listener, the stabilizer, the emotional first responder. Caretaking becomes their identity. But over time, something within them collapses. Boundaries blur, breath shortens, posture softens too much and might even erase or collapse. Their system becomes porous instead of permeable. This looks like sending out tendrils of energy and then looping back, and all of those tendrils of energy and looping back create a sponge. This is where phrases like "I feel everything" or "I get overwhelmed easily" start to appear. And it isn't because their sensitivity is the problem, or even what they're participating in is a problem. It's because sensitivity is operating without the requisite structure developed. The asset begins mistaking merging and oneness with all for loving all. Conflict gets avoided, not because it's unimportant, but because the body can't tolerate the emotional surge. Truth gets swallowed to preserve harmony and peace. Exhaustion honestly becomes normal, and the conditioned asset seeks to control all environment, exposure, and dynamics. This becomes empathy turned inward as depletion. And this is the solution that's often misunderstood. Assets will habitually then pull back more and more, or isolate themselves from anyone or anything that isn't aligned with them, meaning environments or dynamics, goals, and vision that ask more sensation of them than their current range. But the typical advice leaves a lot on the table. The asset doesn't need to feel less, they don't need a thicker skin, and they don't need to shut down or cut off everyone. They do need to develop containment within. The developmental task of the asset is not to close. It's to stay open without dissolving, to feel deeply without carrying everything it touches. At high capacity, empathy becomes something really different. It becomes resonance. Resonance is the ability to feel what's present without taking it on, to remain connected without merging, to let sensation then move through without lodging inside, and then to start transmitting from a place of wholeness. And this is what embodied empathy actually is. When an asset matures or has developed capacity to access its full range, the posture changes. They're still soft, but they're upright. Breath deepens. Awareness stays wide, but there's a center. This is presence that heals, not by doing, but by being regulated in contact. I want to offer one simple integration here, something to notice. If you're an asset, next time you feel emotionally flooded or that kind of rising panic that there's just so much going on, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" or "What's wrong with this?" notice something different. Notice the directionality of the energy flow. Are you taking it in and absorbing, or are you transmitting and resonating? Are you being a sponge, or are you able to take in as a membrane, filtering signal from noise with ease? Absorption without discernment collapses the system. Resonance stabilizes it for you and the environment you're in. And that single distinction can reorganize how empathy and intuition lives in your body. Because the asset's power is not how much it can hold. It's how steadily it can remain present. That is the deeper evolution. Empathy grounded in structure, sensitivity refined into strength, connection without self-loss, accuracy, even when there is a lot of stimuli. This is why the asset needs its complements. The sage will bring discernment, the ability to see and discern without merging. The warrior brings structure, posture, boundaries, tone, ferocity. The shapeshifter brings flow, the capacity to let emotion move and adapt instead of pool and stagnate. Together, they give the asset what it needs to stay whole. This integration is the terrain the prestige and our work exists for, to train nervous systems that can stay open under pressure in a complex world, using all of your capabilities without fallout. It is our practice ground. If something in this video landed, start with orientation. The Somatic Skins Quiz shows you how pressure organizes in your body and in others, and that alone can change how you relate, lead, coach, and connect. If you want more depth and structure from there, the books will go much further into the asset's evolution, from raw sensitivity into embodied resonance. The link for those books are below. If you'd like to continue the convo, share in the comments with me. 1, did you type as an asset skin? Where does your empathy genuinely connect you? And where does it quietly cost you your center? Thanks for making it this far with me. If you got something out of this video, please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel out, and I'll see you next time.